Welcome back on the AM show. We hit our big stories. Now we're looking at the year in retrospect. Everything that has happened in the course of this year. Of course, we're not going to be able to dilate on everything, but most of the topical major issues that have taken place in the course of this year, political and otherwise. Look, I even want us to talk about our sporting fortunes as a country and the different things that have happened. Well, joining us in the studio for a conversation, he's the Member of Parliament for Anya Soutum. He's in the person of Dr. Dickson Adumaku-Kisi. Also joining the conversation via Zoom, we have the NDC's parliamentary candidate for South Tongu in the person of Maxwell Lukutor. Both of them join us. Let me start from Zoom. Maxwell, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I am very well. It's good to have you join the conversation this morning.
Merry Christmas to you and to all listeners and viewers.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year in advance. Let me also come into the studio. Dr. Dickson Adumaku-Kisi is here. So, Maxwell, I'm shaking your hand virtually. Good to have you. And in the studio, Dr. Well, I ideally said Dr. Anya Soutum, Dr. Adumaku-Kisi joining the conversation. So let's start off from here. I'll start with you because at least you have had the benefit of being a member of parliament. Maxwell Lukutor, it's almost safe to say he's going to be a member of parliament in the 9th parliament because if you look at South Tongu and the voting pattern, I home him for the NPP. It's like Bantama or some other areas for the NDC. But let me start with you, since you've been in Parliament. What would be your most topical issues that, off the top of your head, come to mind in especially this 8th Parliament and especially within the year 2023? We've had the budget statements, we've had the media, the budget reviews, we've had the import bill, we've had the anti-gay bill, as we call it, because it's quite a mouthful in Parliament. Outside of Parliament, we can also talk about this latest issue of national security operatives and those 2 dead in Yazo, somewhere in the Oti region, among others. So many issues. But if I asked you first, before we get into those issues, for your candid reflection on Ghana in 2023, what would it be?
The biggest thing that comes to mind for me is the IMF.
Okay.
And the fact that we were supported with 1 tranche from the IMF, and the fact that the narrative about Ghana's economic position, was brought to Ghanaians and to make Ghanaians know that truly and clearly we were not in normal times. And I really think that, it has been a bold president who has shepherded us in these times of tough economic downturn. And the other key thing, let me just stretch out there, what worries my heart is this Hamas-Israel fight. Russia-Ukraine came on board, but I think the death toll in Israel with Hamas, in terms of Gaza, is quite...
I think the last I checked, the claims by Hamas were that it was north of 20,000.
Which is...
On the Israeli end, we do know that from the start, I don't know what the figures have risen to, because there have been subsequent attacks by Hamas and even Hezbollah, I think, in Lebanon, and then the Houthi rebels have also, they've also been attacking ships that are even coming through, bringing supplies to yesterday, I was just reading about India sending some of these fleet into the area to stop any pirates or anybody trying to attack.
So these are
the death toll there too has been, at least from the start, it was over 1,200, and then over 250 people kidnapped and all of that. And it on both sides, it's just been terrible.
And the sad thing is that there are people who are innocent. Sometimes in times of war, you have military action, which that one, but when there are civilians involved, that's where it becomes sickening for me. And I've said on many accounts that I stand with the World Health Organization in terms of the damage to health, in terms of the psychological impact for decades beyond now. And you know, we used to read about battles in the Bible, and the fact that 10,000 people died and all of that. But to have it still play out now, when we think that we've seen all the ravages of war, and we're hoping to stay away from that. I'm troubled by that. But be it as it may, we are here, and we should be thankful to the Almighty. 2023 is almost drawing close to an end. Tomorrow is the 29th, and pretty soon by next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be in a whole new year. And let me say a big happy new year to my constituents in Anya Sotum. And I also told your folks that today, once I'm here, I have to at least show some few things about my constituency, so that people may come to know that through the past 4 years, or let me say 3 years during my tenure, there's been some activities in the constituency in case they haven't seen or heard. So as you can see, we have one Agenda 111 in my constituency. This was taken about a few months ago. Fantastic project, and I believe that this project will be employing quite a number of people in my constituency, and I'm excited that it will be the #1 employer in the constituency when it is completed. In terms of nursing staff, doctors, we also have some bridges being built within the constituency, race course, agape, and these are government projects that are going to help us in terms of amenities, and some of the roads, fantastic roads that we never dreamt of having it tarred, have been also tarred. If you look at the Puma Junction, Sotum, Edujemfi area, these are all very fantastic, additions to the infrastructural development of Anya Sotum, and I'm deeply grateful also to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for this classroom block that we are also putting up within Odogono Senior High School. So I'm very happy to at least tell my constituents that in as much as we're fighting hard to bring resources and help to Anya Sotum, some glimmer of hope is there, and government is paying attention to us, regardless of what maybe people might think. And I think that this is the Anya Zonal Council Road, and this is just amazing to drive or walk on it. And
how long has it been like?
This was just quoted about 3 weeks ago, and it's a huge upgrade to the development of the Anya East area. And
so what exactly has been done on this stretch?
Well, this was not butcherable. It had a lot of shops and little things on this road because it was a bad place to drive, and we were able to clear all of that. And in fact, there was one controversial house which was right in the middle of this road, and I think
in the middle of this road.
In the middle of this road, and our able MC did a Rambo style thing and cleared that house, and it is one of the powerful things that I'm very happy about in terms of what my MC has been able to do in support of our development. It's always difficult to break a house, when especially it's the middle of the road. You know how the community responds to some of these things. In one breath, we want development. In another breath, we still don't want things that are built in the roadways or in the waterways removed. This project is being done at Agape, so they are also seeing something. And Agape is going to see Kota soon.
How about Antieku?
Antieku, that zonal road comes to Antieku. Yeah, so it comes all the way through the municipal down to Dela Junction. And as we sit now, drains are being done further up, where you're talking about. And once these drains are done, the Antieku Junction will also be sorted out. So
it's not been sorted out yet, but it's
the drains are being done as we speak, and that is the key thing. If we don't do those drains, any asphalt we put on there will be washed away. So these are images from, Anya Sotom, and now we can even welcome people to come and see some of our developments. And I'm grateful to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for the additions. And this is the Pentecost University Road, which is also under construction, close to Maranatha. And the school is a huge deal for us. When you have any university or tertiary level, it adds in, to your wellness as a constituency.
It boosts the economy of the area.
Absolutely.
A lot of people will come in there. They will buy things.
Yes.
They'll be exchanged. So.
Yeah. So this is Anya Sotom, day and night. A lot of improvement. There are some naysayers, but oh well, that is politics for you. I think that any small improvement should be celebrated. And Ghanaians as we are, sometimes we fail to celebrate some of the achievements that go on within our local area. So these are women holding some of the placards, and they live in Awoshi. Very excited for what has happened within our area. So I'm happy to.
Interesting developments in Anya Sotom. Dr. Adomaku Kisi is the Member of Parliament. Now let's head to Maxwell Lukutor. Maxwell, are you in South Tongu currently, or are you elsewhere?
Yeah, I'm in South Tongu currently. I'm in the constituency.
Okay, so you are not MP yet. Just hold for me. You are not MP yet, but just walk us through what your constituency is like, the pros, the cons, the pluses and minuses, what you are hoping to do. Then we can also just get your quick, I don't know whether you gave a general reflection of 2023, because I don't think you've given me that yet. You focused on your constituency. So you also talk about your constituency, what you are hoping to bring to bear, what the ailments are in the constituency. Then we can start off the conversation about Ghana in retrospect 2023. Over to you, Maxwell.
Yeah, so once again, good morning to my senior right there with you, and then to my constituents, South Tongu, the opinion leaders, the chiefs, the DC, the MP, all my constituency executives and the branch executives. Good morning to all of you. I am happy to hear from my senior enumerating a lot of roles within his constituency that has been done. So I was shuddering to ask whether it is family and friends business as usual with the NPP government, where they have only extended some of these goodies to members of parliament from their side, because South Tongu, in particular, over the 3 years he's talking about, or for the whole year that we're talking about, we have had a good share of our barrels for times immemorial. We only see them coming to reshape some of them. We have the Koji to the Agbewe-Chachikope road, which has been in that state for a very long time. Yes, of course, some few months ago, some breeder came to the road to reshape. And after the reshaping was done, there was a heavy rainfall and people couldn't ply the road for some few days. That road has been outstanding. There was some construction that was going on before the 2016 elections. And after the NDC has lost, the contractor has packed out and nothing has since happened on that road. We also have the Gonu from Beko to Soklaji Road, which has been in a bad state for as much as over 20 years. And covers has been made on that road. It's only left with gravels to fill the road and make it very motorable for my people. It has never seen the light of day. The Nutekpo Road has been done, courtesy the location of the naval base, which is at Nutekpo. But the other angle from Lolito to Habwi Adidoko has also been left unattended for all this while. Once a while, you see some of us, especially during the parliamentary primaries, most of the candidates had to become contractors by force, where we had to buy laterite and fill portions of the bad roads from time to time. By any time it rains, it washes away most of the gravels that we used to fill the road again. I also have the Doklama Road, which was also started by a contractor. The tar portion of it was just about 1 kilometer or 2, and the rest has been left since 2015 thereabout. Nothing has since happened on that road. There are other critical roads that we need to look at. We have an issue of water, potable water. There's always an irony of us living by the riverside but washing our faces with spittle. You know Sogakoko, the location of Sogakoko and South Tongu, we are by the water lake. But unfortunately, we don't have potable water in most of our communities. And so you see these tricycles going to the riverside to fetch the raw water for communities. My home, particularly Kutame, has been without water for a very long time. And it's always a challenge for us, and we wish and hope that in the shortest possible time, the Kutame community will have potable water flowing through our pipes 24/7. I cannot see and say anything so significant from the staple of government that has happened in my constituency over the whole year under review for the past 3 years. Now, of course, the MP has done his bit through his share of the common fund, and the district assembly, yes, some few projects that are ongoing, they are still continuing with those. There has not been any significant project that has been laid out and completed. And so generally, it's been an old story. Even though the year of roads has been declared 2 consecutive years, we are still without roads, and it's a big challenge for us. You know, my constituency is a rural community, not so rural, a semi-rural community, and so most of our challenges are roads. And we have arable lands. We need a lot of investors to come over and help. I am happy particularly about the budget where there's a 0 rating on agri products that will be imported into the country. Those were some of the issues that were raised with me when I won the parliamentary candidates, and I went through the whole constituency visiting some of the agro firms that we have in the constituency. Those were some of their concerns, that they need electricity extended to their farms to be able to help them pump water freely without they using the generators and buying so much water to pump, so that they can employ a lot more of my constituents on these farms. And also the tax on agri products when they are being imported into the country. So particularly, I'm happy seeing that in the budget of 2024. And so, my brother, generally speaking, these are the things that are happening in my constituency. There has not been any significant touch on any serious sector of the economy around my place. Of course, there is this one district, one factory that is located at Kutame, a banana farm. Even though those things have long been there, and some way, somehow, they converted them to a 1D, 1F. Beyond that, there are a lot of things we can touch on. There's poultry, there's aquaculture. Unfortunately, the spillage has destroyed most of these people, and most of them are in debt now. So the spillage, of course, you knew about it. We were vociferous over these issues when it happened, and still we have issues about settlement of our people. Some few communities within the North Tongu and the Central Tongu are having some resettlement homes being built, courtesy some benevolent societies, some groups, CTFM and other groups are also helping in some of these things. But my constituency in particular has not seen any resettlement package in terms of homes. That's what we are praying for.
So where are the people now? Where are they now?
Within the South Tongu and
Maxwell,
my brother Ben.
Maxwell, where are the people now? Those who were affected, the resettlement plans haven't taken off. Where are they now? Where are they staying?
Sincerely, even during the time of the spillage and the flood, I told you that by our nature within the constituency, we have a nuclear family system that we always try to help one another in times of need. So most of those people went to their family homes to perch with their family and other friends. And now that the water has receded, most of the people have gone back to their homes. Those who have their switch homes destroyed will still have to perch with some people. Some are asking us to help them with some number of bags of cement to be able to start. But sincerely, the economy itself is not too good. Things are so bad, and we will not be able to help them in any of these resettlements. So you see some of them still perching with family and friends, and that is the situation we have at hand.
All right. Thank you for giving us a scoop, at least on your constituency. Let me come back into the studio. Doc, so here we are, 2023 is gradually coming to a close. Yeah. It's been a year flipping and flopping. It's been a year filled with so many things, positive and negative. For you, what would be the highlights from 2023? Especially as a politician, what would be your highlights?
Well, I think that one, this year, we cannot forget some of the lives we lost. And you know, we had some stewards that we lost, not to, you know, talk about their impact to Ghana's, you know, political landscape. You know, many people, unfortunately.
I think very recently you lost Madame Bouzia as well.
Correct. Yeah. Which I think the funeral will be later on. And we had former finance, you know, committee chairman also who passed on. And then lawyer, if I remember, I'm trying to remember his name, one of our NPP lawyers just recently.
I think the name escapes me.
Yes, escapes me too. So we've lost quite a bit of people. And then on the entertainment side too, you know, we unfortunately had the likes of Ampedu's funeral and others. But more importantly, I think Parliament this December was not as chaotic as last year.
We're in the throes of securing an IMF deal.
Yes, you know, and I must thank the opposition party to an extent. I
have a question. Why do you, especially on the majority side, like referring to them as opposition instead of the minority?
Well, the
opposition almost comes across as
okay.
I don't know why you like that.
Let me use a different word. But as it is, they oppose government. I mean, that is what they do at the moment. You know, they've shown some level of commitment, you know, in terms of the challenges. You know, I think that even in being an opposition leader or an opposition party, it's important that you do certain things right. And I must say that this December, we reduced the infighting and we thought about Ghana. And I also have to say that Finance Ministry did us a favor, I mean, largely because I think that this last budget was without a lot of, let me say, pork chops, or shall I say, things that were going to trigger a lot of fights, except for, you know, tax revenue measures that were, or government revenue measures that were put in there. And they were all largely to help Ghana. And I think that we had less controversial issues with our 2024 budget. And kudos to Finance Ministry for doing that. And I also say that many of the ministries also did a good job of presenting things that Ghanaians will consider as very crucial to our success next year. And overall, I'm happy to say that next year, the roads will be much better attended to compared to this year. And for that reason alone, I'm very happy, and I think that the road minister, Mwakwata, will have a little bit of peace of mind next year.
Why? On what
in
basis
this budget,
are you able to say that?
In this budget,
because
in this budget,
we don't necessarily, you know that budget in, budget out. You can look at the projections there. They don't necessarily materialize on the ground. You're fully aware.
Well, I think that.
So I want to know where your optimism is coming from.
I'm very optimistic in the sense that listen, of all the roads, Tema Motorway. I mean, I believe that
I'm using it very recently.
I believe that a lot of people, once they see construction on Tema Motorway, and in terms of the financing provided, the rapid nature in which it will be done, it will make people have some restoration of happiness and some restoration of hope in governance. And I believe that of all the roads next year, for me, my Christmas present was Tema Motorway, because I use that road sometimes to the Volta region. I use that road sometimes to Akosombo and also to Tema. And I believe that many Ghanaians in Accra also use Tema Motorway. No matter where you are in this country, when your things come to the port, you have to use Tema motorway. And even when you're going to Bolgatanga, you still will have to plow that road.
Well, it depends on which port.
I mean, unless it's Takrade.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
But largely, if you're using Tema motorway, and I also believe that this will even enhance and improve on Tema's intake, because many more people will be much comfortable now once Tema motorway has been done to have their shipment move from Tema into the land. So I'm saying,
but I'm curious. Do you know whether it's going to be concrete or asphalted? Because that has been one major concern. You are patching concrete with
no. This is going to be
other things
redone.
So, I get the point, but
it'll be asphalt.
If we had the means, concrete roads are the best. There's no question about it. Concrete roads are the best. And that's why the Tema motorway was what it was, like the Autobahn in Germany.
Yes.
You get
it. Yes.
So if we're going to remake it, my concern is if we're going to do asphalt, for example, look at other roads. Is it going to be comparable or even better than the N1, for example, which has been categorized as being top-notch, or what? Because concrete is the best. So then again, that is where I have my concerns.
This will be very modern, up to the world standards that we all desire for.
Are you going into the roads ministry next year?
No, but
it appears you may know certain things that
roads are dear to all of us. Right. I mean, and I can also even add the fact that the Pokwase to Nsawam Road, oh my goodness, that will feel like heaven for me once those multiple lanes are done. I mean, moving from here to Nkoko will be so quick. And then let me add that the additional road work being done from the Eastern Corridor to Kumasi, fantastic. So I think next year Ghanaians will see the dollar amount that has gone into roads and will have a feel of it. And I think some of the noise will come down. And personally too, I'm excited about the fact that...
You say some of the noise?
Yeah, I mean...
You refer to the complaints as noise?
Well, no matter what you do, there's chatter, there's some level of dissatisfaction with the government. But I really think that when people sit in their coastal, VIPs and things, and they are heading to the eastern region on these multiple dual carry, it's even like 10 lanes. When they see this, I think that the pressures, the upsetness, the dissatisfaction with the government will come down. And then more importantly, from Osino, connecting to Kumasi, when this road is completed and people are using that road, what makes me happy, and let me say this on record, once you have multiple lanes in one direction, your accidents reduce. The need for overtaking on the Kumasi-Accra highway will reduce. And the number of accidents we see on that road will go down. Let me also add that Central Region is also getting a facelift. From Kaswa further on to Central Region is getting that dual carriage. And accidents on that road, we know, from Winneba, further into Cape Coast. Major issue. Now that Road Minister has even cut the sword, not just talk, construction has begun. It is fantastic. Now, the Santa Clausians who are going to Cape will enjoy their drive. St. Augustine's will enjoy their drive. So all of these Infantiman,
I think you've made your point on that.
And kudos to my Wafa. I always call him Wafa. And
this one, it appears you are using our show to lobby. You are,
no.
You are praise mongering and hoping that. But in the interim, I have questions. I have questions for you. Just quickly, because I'll bring in Max. Benjamin Dari, thank you for helping us with the name. He says Lawyer Akoto Ampao.
Correct.
Lawyer Akoto Ampao. Yes. Benjamin Dari, thank you so much for that. It escaped both of us. Then Samuel Sampson, I just want a very quick, because I need to bring in Maxwell, says, please ask Dr. Adomako Kisi why the roads in the main Anya enclave, particularly Anya Atlas, have been abandoned. That place has been in the hands of the NPP for more than 16 years, and yet all the road construction works are seen in Soweto. Well, how do you respond to him? Very quickly, very
Okay,
quickly.
so Anya Zonal Council is Anya East, and that is not Soweto. and that has been done. Once the construction is done there, one of the key places we are looking at is NIC. And NIC will see something. Palace Town is also very dear to me. And Palace Town has had, roadworks before, except for the fact that the rains have washed away all the asphalt that was done for Palace Town. And that is why drains are very important and dear. And let me commit here that NIC, I won't say the names, but it's being pushed heavily so that we see day and night next year.
Are you saying where he's referring to is not part of your constituency?
NIC connects to Atlas.
But is it part of your constituency? Or
oh, yes.
It is within your constituency.
And that's what I'm saying, that, there's Anya, West and East. And for me, the Anya enclave, where he's talking about, is on the other side, where there's Palace Town, NIC, Gonze, going to Agape. And I'm here to assure him that once we move from the eastern corridor of Anya, we'll be entering the western corridor.
All right.
So he should be expecting that.
All right. Maxwell, if you can hear me, I'm coming to you now for your reflection on the year 2023. You made a point about the fact that, he's talking about all these places, roads and all of that, and that it may have to do with the apportioning. And I've had, I believe it was the Member of Parliament for Sisala West, Mr. Sukbaru, who came on the show and mentioned that, yes, sometimes there are these, I think he was on with you. Was he on with you?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
He made mention of the fact that, these conversations happen, but sometimes if you're coming from the minority end and you're not in government, you can lobby and lobby and lobby. If there are 10 slots, 8 or 7 will be given to those who are affiliated to the ruling administration, and another, maybe just the few left, are distributed to the others. You are not in Parliament yet, but what are your reflections generally on Ghana in 2023 and your constituency throughout this year and what you've received? You have to unmute.
I think you have... Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. So like you have confirmed, other people have same concerns. As if the distribution is so unfair. Let them not forget that this is Ghana and the cake is for Ghana. Let us look at priority areas and make sure we do same. In distributing these things, we should be fair in this. For some of us, it is not surprising because I remember a whole year's budget, there was no mention of any town in the Volta region in that year's budget. And that's NPP for you. But I don't think that these things would have to continue.
Maxwell. I recall it was said that there was a mistake somewhere. Did you hear that or not?
It did happen. It did happen. It's not a fabrication from me, so it did happen. So somebody has also confirmed that if you have about 10 road contracts given out, about 8 of them will go to NPP-affiliated communities or with MPs, and then maybe 1 or 2 will be given to other people. And so it's a confirmation of what the situation is. I'm just saying that under normal circumstances, this thing should not happen. And so let's not encourage them happening. Because like I alluded to earlier, I have not seen any road construction happening within my constituency in the past 3 years or in the NPP government or administration. Those that were started were even stalled. Up to now, nothing has happened. Do you remember the Cocoa roads that were started that government never went back to them with the excuse that they are doing auditing, and up to now the auditing was done. No adverse findings were made, but still those roads have not been continued up to now. You remember the Eastern Corridor route. At a point I heard they had to come back to it, but whether it is still going on is another issue. So these are fair points for me to make. I'm not sure that it's out of malice that I'm making this point. Now, beyond that, another thing of concern to me is this Ken Oforiatta fallout. At the point, it was the same majority caucus in Parliament that rose against him, led by Arnold Dompré, that he has to resign because things were not the way we expected to be, and that we have fallen so deep into the doldrums of poverty, and nothing was happening. That was the time we were going to IMF, and they had to shout on top of their voices. The president had to call them, assuage their fears that as soon as the IMF deal was over, he was going to sack him or he himself was going to resign. What do we see? Ken Ofori-Atta is still there, and he's still causing the mess. I remember the DDEP, the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, that became a headache. They said they were not going to give haircuts. Haircuts were given. Senior citizens will have to cry. They have to demonstrate. They have to come and sit in the ministries. And so many things went so wrong. Things that we have never experienced in this country have happened. And so 2023 generally for NPP has been a very, very terrible year. And I think they themselves know. And so they have confessed on several platforms that things have not been too good for the NPP government in 2023. Ken Ofori-Atta is still there. We are expecting him to resign. The Bank of Ghana governor...
You're expecting Ken Ofori-Atta to resign. I think, I'm sorry, but is that realistic? I mean, to place things in the proper perspective. Even members of parliament from the NPP end, for the first time in our Fourth Republic, a number of them said he should go, spoke to Mr. President. There were some promises about let's complete the IMF deal and all of that. And he's still at post, and you're still dreaming of Ken Ofori-Atta going. Are you being realistic?
Very, very, very realistic. So the promise the president made to us all is one of their usual lies. Is it one of their usual lies? They will just come and throw dust into our eyes and that's it. The president made a firm concluding statement that after the IMF deal, Ken Ofori-Atta was going to go. Was it not so? So it is not me saying he should go.
I don't know what the president meant by when the deal is concluded, because we are still in the grips of an IMF program.
He was in the middle of the IMF deal, and once the deal is over, and of course, once the first tranche of the IMF money came, it meant that everything went, even though it is coming to the fore that most of the presentations that they made were false presentations, for which reason the IMF is not releasing the second tranche of the money that we expected. I think in November, and December is ended. We've not heard anything. We are going to January. It meant that he was not doing a good job, and some of us expect him still to go because he claims he's not taking salary. I don't know why he wants to hold on. Is it only because of the kickbacks he gets for his company when he goes to?
We don't know that for a fact.
No, but that is
you can't say that, Maxwell. We don't know that for a fact.
All right. So, what other reasons will motivate him to stay on, not wanting to resign?
That question you can ask, but whether he takes kickbacks or not, we don't know. We can't say that for a fact.
So I'm asking, what is the other motivation which is not making him resign? The next thing I want to talk about is the 24-hour economy that John Dramani Mahama, the incoming president of Ghana, has said being a pillar in the 2024 manifesto promise of the great NDC to the people of Ghana. And I believe that this is a very thought-through policy that is coming to the fore. Of course, some people who haven't given serious thought to it want to poo-poo it, but at the end of the day, they have to quickly stage a walk back because they realize that Ghanaians will take it from them. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia tried to poo-poo on that, but he had to withdraw quickly. It's a very serious policy that I believe that if all of us apply our mind to it, it's going to be the game changer from 2025 when he becomes the president of Ghana. And so for me, let us rather look for the details of this 24-hour economy that is going to bring on board a lot of people. For instance, if you have one strip of workers now in a particular company, you are going to have to triple that because some people will go from morning, another in the afternoon to evening, and then some will go in the night to morning.
Maxwell, a quick one. I am all for this 24-hour economy, and it doesn't have to do with the NDC or the NPP. Any party which would have come up with this, because it's been on the drawing board, sitting there, like some of us have mentioned, since we came out with our 40-year development plan. And famously or infamously, those words of Yawo Safoma for no country plans beyond a certain number of years. We've all seen that. But you also do realize, one, we're in the grips of an IMF program, okay? We are limited. There are some things we are having to do now, which this administration would probably not have wanted to do by way of taxes, by way of cuts. Remember the days of structural adjustment. You're forced to do it because the IMF, you've presented a program to the IMF and they are helping you execute and they are funding you. That is one. Two, I've always said that any administration that takes over, I don't know, from 2025 is going to face quite a hurdle. It's going to be steep economically. We've dug ourselves into a big hole, and it's not going to be easy moving out of that hole. It may take a long time, decades, to get out of where we are. Now, number 3, this promise, while it is doable, and while I have shared my own thoughts, blunt thoughts and other things on it, and its viability and the possibilities, you must also take stock of the fact that it's going to take a lot, even financially speaking, to get it off the ground, not to talk of sustaining it. How is your party considering all of this in terms of execution?
The free SHS policy has been one of the cardinal pillars in the policies of the country, where we said there is going to be progressively free education. The NPP came and made it a topical issue, implemented it, and making it look as if it was their brainchild, even though it's been there all along. So the 24-hour economy, yes, it's something we have been thinking about, but who is bringing it to the fore? Who is giving it flesh? Who is giving it meaning? Who is giving it word? And so it is JDM. And so for me, it's a plus for him to bring this to the fore for us to all think about and talk about and implement. Of course, there are a lot of things that we still import. Katie Hammond, in a Rambo style, wanted to just stop the importation of some of the items he feels we can produce in Ghana. But whether we have that self-sufficiency that we are able to produce these things, for which reason he's going to stop. There are a lot of companies that will need a push from government, a support from government to be able to do the things we wish them to double or triple their produce.
Right.
So for me, it is good that these things are coming to the fore. Of course, there's going to be challenges every day, any time. The challenges we are facing now, we have never faced in the history of Ghana, but we are enduring.
Okay.
And so whichever can, depending on the driver we bring on board, that is why most people think that Bawumia is not fit to even be considered in the first place as a presidential candidate for the NPP, let alone the president of Ghana, because you are the one who touted all the policies and the economic policies that you think you were coming to implement, coming into government. You were all over the roofs from one university to the other, giving lectures, giving explanations, talking about theories, and now that you're on the seat, you can't implement any of them. You have all of a sudden become an IT expert and talking about digitalization and other things. Of course, digitalization has also not started from his time, because so many of these things were done in the time past, and e-governance is something that was being practiced all along or was in the process of being implemented before he came in with this digitalization agenda, which is not new. So my point is that things will be challenging, but depending on the driver you have the seat, because he's been in government before, he knows how to drive around some of these things that we face in government. He's able to drive us through the challenges we face. He's only going to give support to some groups of companies, make sure we have security provided 24/7. There are a lot of our young ones who want to go to the police service and other security services. By day, if there's an advert floated in the dailies, you see the number of people who apply to be employed into the security services. But maybe because we do not know exactly how we're going to deploy them to places, we take only few numbers. So I think that was
right. Maxwell. Max, I think your point is made there, and your party has also been expanding on it. I hear there's some document in the offing in terms of what the plan really is and how you're going to sustain it. I'm just saying that I keep saying, whether it's NPP or NDC, if you do the right things that work for everybody and the economy is good and everything is going well, I stand there. That is where I stand, if it's good for the people. So this is a good idea. Just as I said, free SH is a good idea. I don't like the implementation. But in this instance as well, I feel it's a good idea. I'm always looking out for how it will be executed. But let me bring in, I must state that we have a maximum of 10 minutes left. I want us to apportion it prudently, which is why before I come to you, hold on, before I come to you for your reactions, I want us to take a quick look at two crucial issues, unemployment and corruption. Corruption, look, people, you heard him talk about Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister, the perception in there. We have the SML deal recently that has also, we are losing so much. Even if we were getting the barest minimum out of corruption, in terms of the 3 billion plus, it goes as high as 6 billion per estimates that we lose, we probably wouldn't be with the IMF, because that's exactly the same amount we're getting from them. And we lose that every year to corruption. Then there's job creation, unemployment. I want those two to be the crucial conversations we have as we cap off, because those could also determine the elections in 2024. Right. So quick reaction, then give me your thoughts on these two, and then I'll come to you, Maxwell, then it's a wrap.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to say to Maxwell, I remember some George touting Agenda 111 in his constituency, and that is NDC. I remember Dafiamapo.
I don't know about touting. I think
no. I mean, he said that he's gotten one Agenda 111, and it is true. It's been done. Dafiamapo, his roads have been done. He also even has an Agenda 111. So I just want to dissuade.
One road. I remember. He
major
was here
Peki,
on this platform. He
one major road at Peki, a major one, not a small one.
You say roads.
You understand?
And I'm saying at least for me.
No. It's that stretch makes a huge difference.
Okay.
From Peki entering Hohoi, major road. So I just wanted to dissuade his mind about the fact that the NPP has maybe not done anything for, where it's NDC strongholds. Tema motorway is not MPP or NDC. Tema motorway is for all of us. Greater Accra region, if we're talking about a region that MPP lost a lot of seats, is Greater Accra. So when we are doing Tema motorway and you tell me that, and listen, Central region.
But he didn't say it specifically talking
about.
He
was making that information. So forgive me. I have to make it clear and known to everybody that the NPP has touched everywhere, in as much as he may think. And it is your listen. Adaklu has gotten one of the biggest water processing things. About 15
plants.
Yes, plants. A lot of money invested in that. I think about 15 million euros or so. Heavy. So when you sit on TV via Zoom to make these allegations, I'll beg that
made there. Please, let's focus. Now, we have limited time.
One thing,
jobs, corruption, and Ken Ofori-Atta is still at post. Are you happy with that?
One thing
Are you happy with Ken Ofori-Atta still being at post?
I wish
one of those MPs back then who, are you happy with Ken Ofori-Atta being at post?
At the moment, I think things have turned around.
Things have turned around.
Yes.
So now you're happy with Ken Ofori-Atta.
And I think we should allow him to work.
We should allow him to. On Twaso.
Until such a time that the president determines he's the appointing authority, to make a change. That is, and let me be with my general secretary here. I think that some of us
things that should be a reshuffle, and that some people are simply not doing the work.
Some changes. That one, I'll end the year making that claim that I think that some fresh faces, some fresh ideas might engage our youth more. And that one is a different discussion. And in governance, anytime you do some reshuffle, it helps. It brings in new energy, and people also have a new excitement. So that one, but that is the president's decision to make. I don't have that pay grade. I'm not at the presidential level. I'm a member of parliament, and I'll do what I can do within my small quarter. So that is one thing. Now, one thing I need to share with the Ghanaian people, and hear me out here. I've done a lot of brokerage in the past in the US, and the truth is that in any transaction, there are fees and payments that are due people involved in that transaction. It is unfortunate that in our country, we fail to acknowledge that, in whatever work you do, those fees are not corrupt.
Are you speaking in respect of SML?
No, I'm talking in respect of some of the many transactions.
Because there can be these transactions, and yes, fees must be paid, but they can be tweaked, and that things are going wrong. You're also aware of that, right?
I appreciate that, but my key thing is that, it is unfortunate that at many times, some of the clear transactional deals are blown up and quote unquote labeled as corruption. Now, the reason why I say this is that, listen. There's a cultural bit in doing business in Ghana, which we cannot. Yes, we with nothing. Those cultural bits, when you mirror
those cultural bits that are that are corrupt, so to speak. We must stick to the culture and do it.
No,
that's what we're saying.
Listen. Let me say this carefully. You know, yes, I'm a man. In as much as we do business in this country, for instance, if you are building a road and there's a shrine and you want to move that shrine away, boss, you have to pay homage to the township, pay homage to the people, and do the appropriate thing before you move the shrine. If you say that it's a corrupt practice, I'll tell you that, Maza, then you don't mean business.
Then I don't.
You get my point.
And I'll let you wrap on that. But I don't think during the former president's, I'm talking about John Mahama's tenure, when you remember the Burkinabe businessman Kanazwe, and the Ford saga.
Yeah.
Some of us went hard on that.
Yes.
Okay.
And rightly so.
Rightly so. But the point is, he didn't even take custody of it. He put it in the pool, and I still fault him for that. But he put it in the general pool for the presidency and all of that. I still fault him for it anyway.
Agreed.
But then that shouldn't have been an issue. After all, hey,
and that comes back to my point that many of us have mistaken, and I said that we've mistaken, the traditional approach. Because listen, if I intend to even build a hospital for a township in any of our traditional areas, I cannot do that without at least getting the audience of the king and chiefs or queens of those areas. And in that interaction and engagement, you'd have to refresh them. So this is basically our tradition, and that cannot be done away with. Now, when you go beyond our tradition, and there are demands that are not agreeable with the two parties or per international practices, that is where then I have a problem. So in Sakakra Ebegu or forming there, that one, those things.
Has corruption got to levels that are becoming that basically are hampering our progress as a country? Do you think we're there?
I think that some perceptions have been erroneous, and I think that media.
But is there corruption?
There is some level, yes, absolutely. I mean, as you grow as a nation, as population grows, crime rates will increase. Likewise, as government size also increases, the level of corruption, no matter what. The corruption we saw in 1978 under the leadership of Rawlings will be smaller. I have this final bit for you.
Do you think we could do with fewer ministers?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Let me bring in, I'll come back with, for each of you, 30 seconds and then we go. But Maxwell, it's your turn now. So the issue of job creation, the issue of corruption, quickly on those so that I can give you 30 seconds each. Final words, we're gone. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so the issue of corruption, we cannot agree that it is choking. And if you see the index, it keeps increasing by the day. And we are not going back. The best or the worst of the NDC's corruption perception, I think, is the best for the NPP. And it means that things are getting deteriorated. NPP came to power on the platform that there was so much corruption. You mentioned one of them, this kind of Zoe thing. And I'm sure that fault is still in the pool of government, whatever they have done to that vehicle. I'm not
if you don't know that for sure, you can't, you're saying you are...
No, but what I'm saying is that Mahama didn't take that fault away. It is in the pool of government. Whether they have sold it out or given it out to another person is what
But was there the need to even accept it anyway? Because we knew for certain that this Burkinabe businessman wanted contracts, I think road contracts, if memory serves. And that is the level. While I can agree not to fault him to a certain extent, he wasn't taking it for himself or anything. The mere fact that you're taking it, you go to other jurisdictions, right? And even if you take $500 or $5,000 from anybody, you have to give account of it. Once you are in public office, you have to do that. Go to Rwanda. Recently, I followed a story about this minister. He was pretty popular, did a few things. I think he took, was it $5,000 or something? Ended up with a hefty jail term, and they are actually fining him about 10 times the sum. Why can't we do that?
My brother, where we
or
are...
you also agree with the Amamre bits that Doc is speaking of?
The Amamre bit is part of that. And you see, some of these things, they are creations of our society that always goes with that. You go to places and the security man thinks that you have to tip him. The driver of the company thinks that you owe him something. Everybody there thinks that once you have come and you are looking quite good, you should distribute money to everybody.
So if we are doing it this way, how do we stamp out corruption?
No, we have to definitely stamp out corruption. So my point is that what happened at that time, JDM didn't take that for himself. So I don't see the point in playing him. But Manasseh has already made capital out of that. People bought into it, and that is where we are now. Now, looking at the situation we are in, I think it's choking. And the earlier we all sit down as a country and think about the ways we can reduce these things and bring it to the barest minimum is what the discussion we should be having. As for whether this man was more corrupt or the other was more corrupt, it is inevitable.
Okay.
Ghanaians now know that NPP cannot do anything about corruption. For which reason the situation is so bad that most of their MPs, I think about 18 or more of them, are not even seeking re-election because they know the grounds are not too good for them. Like he alluded to earlier, there's no reshuffle.
But some of them have been there for a long time. Osechi Mensah Bonsu, Orobo Atachia, among others. Some of them have been there. They are part of the longest serving MPs. For some of them, it actually makes sense.
I didn't see the name of the old man, Katie Hammond. Bravo.
This table you are shaking, eh? Anyway. Maxwell, are you on? Oh, I think his feed is frozen. Maxwell, please try and reconnect with us. Maxwell, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Okay, please wrap in 1 minute. Please wrap. 1 minute.
Yeah, sure. So my point is that things are not too good, and Ghanaians have come to realize that. If you look at the researches that have been made, I think is it Afro Informatics or something? The research that has come.
Global Info Analytics, is that what you're referring to?
Say that again.
Is it Global Info Analytics or is it Afrobarometer?
Yes, about the possibility of the percentage of or the possibility of JDM winning the 2024 election hands down. And I think that the NPP and Pawmia are struggling. I'm sure that is what has informed most of their MPs to not want to put themselves out for ridicule. It is clear that things have got so bad and that the NDC is coming back in 2025.
Okay. Maxwell, final words for us. You can also share a Christmas message as we cap off.
Yeah, sure. So my point specifically about the spillage and its effect is that the 220 million that has been budgeted for taking care of my people should come. It should not just be on paper. People should not go and drink tea, sitting down and having meetings, but we should make sure that this 220 million gets to the people. My concern now is the resettlement homes that we need to give to these people. I was looking to some of our chiefs that we need to put land available so that as soon as some group of companies come, we should be able to give them space and land to build these resettlement homes for our people. Let me use this opportunity to wish a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance to all my constituents, all my colleagues, my friends, my team members, and everybody. You know, I won my primaries earlier this year. Let me say hi to everybody who supported in getting that through. And
all right, my final bit. I'm sorry to do this. I think you've addressed all of that. I have this bit that skipped my mind. You remember, I was talking about the two who have recently been killed in the OT area in respect of national security. Do you have any quick thoughts on that? Very briefly.
Yeah, I think the Jasikan KJB district about this cocoa smuggling to neighboring Togo. It's unfortunate. You hear the situation on the ground is that the cocoa buying companies don't have money to even buy the cocoa they intend to buy. How can you buy cocoa without money? And when the people are looking for market to go and sell their produce and feed themselves during Christmas, you go.
What do you want to see done? What do you want to see done?
No, you see, let's apply common sense to some of the things we do. Why would you go and you don't ensure that the cocoa buy companies have money to buy, and you are just chasing and killing? But
it also doesn't give them. It also doesn't give them the right to smuggle, right?
So what do you want them to do? To give the cocoa?
No, are you supporting smuggling?
No, my point is that if you want the cocoa buy companies to buy from them, make sure that they have money to buy.
All right, thank you, Max.
This syndicated loan that they are going for, how much have they got? They couldn't make much, and so they are poor. So
I get your point. I get your point, Maxwell. Thank you very much. Doc, final words. In less than a minute. We have to go.
Every political figure, whether NDC or NPP, seeks the interest of Ghana. And let me say that the approaches might be different, but I've come to believe that all political apparatchiks or people have the interest of Ghana at heart and afford us the opportunity to work for you We are there for you. And I personally, Dr. Adomaku Kisi, the Member of Parliament for Anya Sultum, is there ready to listen to your concerns and will push for projects in my constituency. And I'm hoping that the NPP delegates on 27th of January gave me a second chance. Based on my experience, I believe that I can do a lot of good for my constituency.
All right.
So they should stay with me. Thank you very much.
Those who joined this conversation, Member of Parliament for Anya Sultum, Dr. Dickson Adomaku Kisi, and of course, Maxwell Lukutor, the NDC's parliamentary candidate in South Tongu. Maud, I saw you doing the watching. Thank you very much for doing the mischievous watching. Maud, I'll not mention your other name, so people don't know you've been mischievous.